Some confrontations in Washington are moments when months of simmering tensions explode in a single room. The scene that unfolded on April 30th, 2026, in the Senate Armed Services Committee was exactly that. On one side, Mark Kelly, retired Navy captain, former astronaut, Arizona senator, fighter pilot, someone who has used real weapons on the battlefield and faced real danger. On the other side, Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, appointed from a Fox News commentator, positioning himself as one of the architects of the Iran war for months. Kelly came to the hearing with three concrete questions. Why are ammunition stocks running out so quickly? What does the phrase, "no quarter, no mercy" mean? And how was the $0.5 trillion budget calculated? Hegseth did not really answer any of these three questions, but the way he answered was much more meaningful than the answers themselves. Background. Why Kelly? Why this trial? To understand the backdrop of this hearing, we need to go back a few months. The April 30th hearing was the first time Kelly and Hegseth faced each other in public since the November 2025 illegal orders video. This video was a message in which Kelly and 5 Democratic colleagues urged military personnel not to follow illegal orders. The Trump administration had accused Kelly of insubordination. Hegseth had initiated 2 separate Pentagon investigations into Kelly. The second investigation followed Kelly's comments on CBS about the impact of the Iran war on ammunition stocks. Hegseth accused Kelly of going off the rails again, saying he had revealed a secret Pentagon briefing on television. But Kelly's response instantly turned the accusation around. Kelly responded to Hegseth's social media post. "We had this conversation in an open hearing a week ago, and you said it would take years to replenish some stocks. This is not classified. It is a quote from your own words." This one sentence blew up Hegseth's leaking classified information charge. Because there was nothing secret. There was a statement made in a public trial, in front of cameras, under oath. First front. Depletion of ammunition stocks. Kelly began the hearing by using Hegseth's own words as a weapon. This is a classic technique of a prosecutor, cornering the opponent with their own words. Kelly said, "On March 13th, you said, a massive, widespread attack hitting over 1,000 targets in the first 24 hours. On March 10th, the most intense strikes inside Iran. April 6th, the highest volume of strikes since day one. Your ministry released images of the explosion. No one doubts the strength of the U.S. military, but the question we should be asking is, what does this cost us, and what does it get for the American people?" This framing was masterful. Kelly did not say the military was a failure. "I don't doubt your strength," she said. But at that point, he posed the real question. What is the cost of this show of force? Kelly continued, "In many of these attacks, we are using our best weapons. A lot. A large number of interceptors. We cannot produce this ammunition overnight. You know that from the budget requests." And then Hegseth made the most important confession of the hearing. Hegseth admitted to Kelly that it would take years to replenish some stocks. Years. This single word is the summary of the entire picture. The Iran war has been going on for months. Ammunition stocks are running out. It will take years to replenish. And what will be the possible confrontation scenario with China during this process? Kelly stated it clearly. "This war is at a standstill, Mr. Secretary. The Strait of Hormuz is closed. The Iranian regime is still in place. Nuclear material is under their control. Americans are being crushed by rising costs, and the true objective of the war has never been clearly communicated to the public." These words were not just a political critique, but a summary of verified facts about the current situation. The Strait of Hormuz was closed, prices had risen, the regime had survived, and the nuclear program was ongoing. In contrast, while Pete Hegseth used the narrative of, "we are winning," for months, Mark Kelly directly asked, "What have you won?" Second front, the no quarter and war crime debate. The most shocking aspect of the trial was the moment Kelly brought up a Hegseth statement from March 13th. Hegseth had told reporters on March 13th, "We will advance against the enemies. Advance, advance. There is no mercy, no compassion. There's no mercy, no compassion, no quarter." This phrase has a very clear meaning in the law of armed conflict. Kelly personally framed this expression within the legal context. The expression, "no quarter," means that legitimate offers of surrender will be rejected and prisoners will be executed. It was stated that this is clearly prohibited under international law, including the Geneva Conventions and the Hague Conventions, and is also considered a crime under the War Crimes Act of 1996. Kelly read Hegseth the definition from his own department's Law of War manual. Legitimate offers of surrender will not be denied. Prisoners will not be executed. Then she asked him twice, "Do you take that back?" Hegseth gave the same answer twice. "We are fighting to win." This exchange was the most critical moment of the trial. Kelly was asking a yes-no question. He was putting forth a legal definition, and Hegseth offered a slogan in response to this definition. "We are fighting to win." This does not answer the question. This is dodging the question. Hegseth finally added, "The only entity that will kill prisoners or target civilians is the Iranians. They are the ones being crushed. We are fighting to win and obeying the laws, Senator. Follow the logic of that answer." Kelly asked, "Do you take back the no quarter statement?" Hegseth replied, "Iranians are war criminals." This is not an answer. It is a diversion. Counter-accusation in response to an accusation. And this has no validity in any court or military investigation. Third front, $0.5 trillion budget came out of thin air? Kelly's third move was perhaps the most direct one. Kelly said of the $0.5 trillion budget request, "It is as if this number came out of thin air." This number is about 40% above the current annual budget. He asked Kelly Hegseth about the $31.8 billion request to expand critical missile stock production capacity. Hegseth mixed up the number, mentioning $53 billion. Kelly did not allow the uncertainty about which number was correct to continue. The defense secretary is confused about the numbers in his own budget. This is not just a mistake. This is a sign that there is no holistic planning behind a $0.5 trillion request. Kelly expressed the essence of the hearing in an interview with CNN. "When someone like me starts asking questions, whether I'm on a program or in an open hearing, they don't want to give specific answers. Because at this point, they may have realized they made a series of mistakes and they don't want to give a specific answer." Statements alone summarize the overall dynamic of the trial and the fundamental criticism of why the parties were avoiding direct answers. Kelly came with 3 concrete questions. Hegseth brushed off all 3 with slogans. Hegseth's real reaction: "No answer, just an investigation." The most striking aspect of the hearing was not the content of Hegseth's answers to Kelly, but their form, and what he did after the hearing. Hegseth targeted Kelly on social media after the hearing. Captain Mark Kelly is back on stage. Now he's revealing a secret Pentagon briefing on television. Did he violate his oath? The ministry's legal advisory office will investigate. This is a classic cornered response in a hearing. Instead of answering the question, target the person asking the question. But this move was instantly turned around by Kelly. Kelly's response was clear. "We had this conversation in an open hearing a week ago, and you said it would take years to replenish some stocks." This is not secret. It is a quote from your own words. The threat of an investigation collapsed with this one sentence. Something said in a public hearing cannot be classified as confidential information. Hegseth was blaming the other person for saying what he himself had said. Moreover, this was the second investigation Hegseth had opened against Kelly. The first investigation stemmed from a video in which Kelly called for disobeying illegal orders. The Federal Appeals Court indicated that Hegseth was close to a decision rejecting this effort. Yahoo! So Hegseth tried to investigate a member of Congress twice over his inquiries, and in both instances, the legal ground was lost. Trying to avoid accountability. Kelly's sharpest assessment of Hegseth came not in the courtroom, but afterward. Kelly said, "What he's trying to do is avoid accountability. When someone starts asking them questions, in public or in a deposition, they don't want to give specific answers. And these threats of investigation are being used as a tool to silence them. And these investigation threats are being used as a means of pressure to silence him." Kelly also emphasized this important point in the same interview. This is about 2 million retired soldiers, and one of the most interesting parts of that hearing for everyone who listened to it was when Hegseth's lawyer finally said, "If a soldier, after serving 20 to 25 years like me, wants to exercise their First Amendment rights, they should give up their pension, their salary, and their health insurance. Then they can speak freely." What an anti-American attitude that is. How anti-American is this attitude? This sentence brought the biggest dimension of the trial to the forefront. Hegseth's threats of investigation target not just a single senator, but millions of retired military personnel. The notion of "give up your retirement if you want your rights" is seen as requiring someone to forfeit another right they possess in order to protect their right to vote, and such an approach is considered an unacceptable coercive mechanism within a democratic system. Conclusion: asking questions is not a crime. The picture that emerged from this trial was threefold. First layer: the cost of munitions in the Iran war is a real and documented issue. Hegseth personally acknowledged this by saying it would take years. But no strategic framework was presented on top of this acceptance. Second layer: the phrase "no quarter, no mercy" is a statement directly related to the law of armed conflict. Kelly asked the question twice. Both times he got the answer, "We're fighting to win." This is not an answer. Third layer: the Secretary of Defense tried to interrogate a member of Congress who asked him a question twice, and in both cases, the legal ground collapsed. Kelly's summary framed the picture best. What he's trying to do is evade accountability. Kelly's summary framed this table best. What he's trying to do is avoid accountability. Avoiding accountability is no longer just an individual attitude, but has become a cultural reflex of an institution that demands a $0.5 trillion budget, commands millions of soldiers, and governs the country in a war environment. It is believed that there is a much deeper issue here. Mark Kelly posed these questions not as an astronaut, but as a former combat pilot, someone who knows how quickly ammunition runs out and the true cost of the battlefield. And he conveyed the message that true accountability will not end as long as these questions remain unanswered. If you want to follow this type of analysis, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. See you at the next hearing.